starts now. And welcome to the SVK Crypto Podcast. 15 minutes of crypto fame.
My name's Charles Storry. I'll be your host the next 15 minutes. We're coming live from the city of London, Shoreditch. So let's get down to business. Today's show, I'm proud to announce, we have Kain, the founder of Havven, a super exciting project out of Australia. The team are based over there in Sydney. They have just started trading on a few different exchanges. So it's great to have Kain on the show to talk to us about the developments and the exciting roadmap they have laid out for 2018. So let's jump into the interview. So on today's show, we have Kain, the founder of Havven. Kain, how's it going?
Great. Doing very well, thank you.
Great. Which part of Australia are you in today then, Kain?
We're based in Sydney, and I live in Bondi, so very nice part of the world.
Beautiful, beautiful. And Kain, would you be so kind to give the listeners a quick background to yourself?
Yeah, of course. So I've been working in crypto for about 4 years now. I actually run another company called Blue Shift, which is the largest cryptocurrency payment gateway on-ramp in Australia. So we work with a number of different exchanges, CoinSpot, CoinJar, some of you guys might have heard of over in the UK. And we basically help them to onboard people and get fiat into the crypto ecosystem. So we've been running that business since 2014. And for me, I guess the acceleration of crypto is kind of what drove me to look into some of the larger problems. And obviously stability being a pretty big one right now.
That's great. And would you be so kind to give us an overview of the Havven ecosystem as well?
Sure. So Havven is a decentralized payment network. The idea is to take other payment network, centralized payment network solutions. So, think PayPal or Amex, and to remove the intermediary, the trusted authority at the center of those, and replace it with a distributed system. So the idea behind that is that you end up with a decentralized token, which has a stable value and allows people to transact within crypto systems in a stable medium of exchange and unit of account.
And I know you guys have been working really hard with the community out there, and it's been explosive, I think is the word I'd use. How have you found the community response thus far for the project?
Well, I think, at one point we had about 125,000 people across two Telegram channels, which, that there were a number of different elements to that. There was a large airdrop, which people responded to, really well. There were a lot of people in the community who've been looking for alternatives to, some of the stablecoins we have now, Tether, DAI, etc. And I think that the sort of mission of creating a decentralized stablecoin, really resonated with a lot of different groups. So it's been interesting to kind of see all those people mingling together in one Telegram channel. It gets a little bit gets interesting at times, but it's been great. And obviously the support of the community, has been awesome as well. I think we had about 25,000 people on the whitelist for our sale. So there were a lot of supporters out there.
And with the community, did you expect it to grow the way it did? Was there something you guys planned on? You always have a marketing roadmap when you're bringing something to market. And I think we're very lucky in the timing and just execution of how that kind of rolled out. So there were probably a number of things that kind of converged at the same time. And as I said, I think there's a lot of people out there who are aware that centralized stability solutions have some downsides to them, and alternatives are really clearly needed. So I think that helped as well, that people could see a very clear
need in the ecosystem, and it was a novel solution that we were proposing, and so all of those things combined really helped to kind of ramp up the community engagement.
I like that.
Yeah.
Kain, how do you see stablecoins such as Havven being adopted, and how important are they to the mass adoption of blockchain technologies?
I think they're critical. I think that for the last several years, particularly as the Ethereum ecosystem has grown so rapidly, there have been a number of different approaches to solving decentralized systems. Whether the solution was for prediction markets or insurance, there's a number of different things. Lending. The challenge has been that anything that has an element of time to it, anything that's over a longer time scale than, say, a few days, it's very difficult for you to build a system that can be administered via smart contract, because you don't have a stable medium of exchange or unit of account with which to sort of interact with those systems. So one of the examples we use is, let's say you take out an insurance contract on your house, and you put a few $1,000s into that contract a year, maybe, and that might be going for a few years, and then all of a sudden the price of, let's say, ETH, which that contract might have been created in, drops significantly, and then there's a payout. That payout event may not actually be able to sort of support the contract, because the price in fiat, which you need to actually repair your house or buy a new house, has dropped significantly. So until you have a stable coin that can exist within these platforms, it's very hard to see how those sorts of systems will gain mass adoption. So that's one area, which is basically a protocol that other systems can build on top of. Another area, which I guess is probably more general, is really that a stablecoin is just a form of programmable money. So the purpose of Bitcoin originally was to be a peer-to-peer electronic cash system, and whilst it does some elements of that very well, the cash system part it fails in because of the issues with stability. And so what we see Havven and other stablecoins sort of solving for is the ability for you to transact on the internet with a cryptocurrency that is permissionless, but that is also stable in value. And if that becomes more prevalent, then that's just obviously going to drive adoption, because until that happens, it's very hard for everyday use cases to be implemented.
And what would you say the main drivers behind the value of the Havven token is?
The Havven token is essentially the right to participate in the Havven network. So if you're holding a Havven token, you have the ability, once the network launches in around late June, you will have the ability to lock up your Havven token, and against the value of that token, you'll be able to issue stablecoins. And so the stablecoins are collateralized by the Havven tokens that are placed into escrow, that are locked up in a smart contract. And the value of those Havven tokens, again, comes from your ability to participate in the network. And the issuance of the stablecoin allows for people to transact. And as they transact in the stablecoin, they pay fees. So just in the same way that, when you transact with PayPal, merchants pay fees. When you transact with American Express or Visa or MasterCard, merchants pay fees. When you transact with NUSD, which is our stable token, you pay fees, because obviously you're getting utility from being able to use a stable cryptocurrency. And those fees go to the people who have staked the system. So the driver of value is really transaction volume. As the network grows and as more people are transacting within the Havven payment network, the fee volume increases, and the reward for staking the system gets higher. So that's really the feedback loop that we see. In the same way that if you're someone who's holding, if you're an early PayPal investor or something like that, as the PayPal network grows and gets traction, obviously value accrues to you. The difference for us, though, is that you need to actively participate in the system. You need to stake your Haven tokens in order to generate fees.
Ah, wow. It's a system that I really believe in, and I know we've done a lot of work at SVK, so that's great to hear it from yourself and how that works. Kain, could you also talk to us through the rollout of ETH back to Nomans and the transition to Haven back to Nomans as well?
Of course. So one of the things that we wanted to do, and stable coins, it should be pointed out, are obviously still, like many crypto systems, very experimental. And there are a number of things that we need to determine, various parameters within the system, in order to ensure that it performs efficiently. So what we decided to do was to have a staged rollout where the first Nomans that we create, so EUSD is the name of the token, will actually be backed by ETH. So the value of the tokens is derived essentially or collateralized by ETH. And what that will allow us to do is track transaction volume, track velocity, track various other parameters in the network, and ideally, it'll allow us to set the parameters as we transition to Haven-backed Nomans. So, what will happen once we deploy the Haven-backed Noman contract is people will be able to stake their Havens initially a small fraction of the value of those tokens. And I guess this is kind of an important point to mention, because people ask what underpins the value of the stable token, and it is the value of the Havens. But in order to protect from large price drops, as we're seeing in the market over the last few weeks, we keep a buffer of about 80% of the value. So if you have $100 worth of Haven tokens and you stake them, you can only issue $20 worth of the stablecoin of NUSD, and that's to ensure that the system is always fully collateralized, even if there's a large price drop.
That's great to hear. And could you also speak about some of the partnerships that you've announced thus far? Because I know the team's been extremely busy.
Yeah, we have, and I think that's another element where the community, obviously not just from our users, and our airdrop participants and other people who've participated in the sale and various aspects of the system, but it's also been from other projects. So we've had a view for quite a while, probably the last 6 to 9 months, that once there is a scalable stablecoin that people are able to build on top of, that's an open source protocol, that there will be a number of use cases that will be enabled. Some of which are obvious, as I mentioned, prediction markets and lending, et cetera. But some of them I think are we can't even really determine what they might be. The market obviously is always going to surprise you when you put out a new tool, and people will use it in different ways. But the obvious ones, like lending, for example, we've got a partnership with Swappy that is a project that's looking to use our token as a way of essentially creating a loan. And so instead of loaning out a volatile cryptocurrency, they'll be able to loan out a stable cryptocurrency, which is significantly better in terms of adoption and friction, et cetera.
Great to hear. And could you talk about some of the upcoming developments within Haven?
Yeah, of course. So we just launched for a week our test USD, which is basically an ETH-backed Noman contract that runs for a week. There is about 50 ETH in that contract right now. So if you fancy yourself a bit of a hacker or cracker, please jump in there and see if you can break it, because we've essentially put that up as a bug bounty. We've got some other bug bounties as well that you can find on our site, but that's a fairly large bounty to see if anyone can come in and actually break the contract. So that's been on mainnet for about a week, and next week, about midweek, we'll actually launch the proper finalized, audited EUSD contract, and we'll probably put around about 2,000 ETH initially into the contract. So that will allow us, depending on the price of ETH at that time, to issue a few $100,000 worth of tokens of the EUSD. And that's going to allow us to do some pretty cool stuff. So something that we're planning, which we're yet to announce, but I'll give a bit of a preview on the podcast, is we're going to enable an e-commerce portal on our website where people will be able to come and purchase iPhones and other Apple products, and we're going to ship them worldwide. And the reason why we can do that is because we don't have any issues with fraud if we take cryptocurrency. So that's something that I think, people sometimes don't realize why merchants don't take cryptocurrency as payments, because it's obviously a much better payment mechanism than, say, Visa or Amex, particularly for overseas purchases. And the reason really is that, there's a massive amount of risk if you're a merchant and, you take Bitcoin and then the price of Bitcoin drops, you're exposed. Even if you use a payment gateway that settles, the costs can be quite high and the friction's quite high. So we have a view that if you are able to accept a stable cryptocurrency on your e-commerce site, and the fees are quite low, and you don't have to worry about giving someone custody of your money, that this will be a significant improvement in payment, especially for overseas transactions, because you reduce fraud to essentially zero. And so what we're going to do to demonstrate that is sell a bunch of iPhones, which would typically be an extremely high fraud item for an e-commerce business, and we're going to ship them anywhere in the world. Wow. So anyone anywhere can buy an iPhone from us, and we'll ship it anywhere. And just to ensure that people are excited about it, we're going to do it at a discount as well.
Woo! So when can people sign up for this, Kain?
It's probably going to be a couple of weeks. We'll have some announcements. Once we get the contracts on mainnet and we've got enough currency to support it. What we don't want is a crazy gas war or something like that. So which we may have anyway, but we've got some plans as to how to sort of mitigate that. But we'll announce everything on Telegram and Twitter and various social channels and get people ready to go before we actually roll it out. But obviously, we're really excited about that, and we're kind of interested to see how many different countries will come and purchase an iPhone from us.
That's great to hear. And Kain, can I ask you a personal question?
Sure.
How do you stay on top of doing an ICO, the technology, the community, the market? How do you stay on top of all of this in your day-to-day life?
Never sleep. If you cut sleep down to about 4 or 5 hours a night, you'd be surprised how much you can get done in a day. Look, I had some of our advisors who'd previously been through token sales said to me, the last 2 months, it's going to be the craziest 2 months of your life, as you get up to the sale. And this is the 7th startup that I've either founded or been involved in. So, I've been through a number of product launches and crazy periods, but I can without a doubt say that running a token sale was the hardest thing that I've ever done. It's just the breadth and depth of different things that are coming at you and the speed at which it moves. Jordan and I traveled around the world, I think 3 times in the course of like 6 weeks, like literally looped all the way around the world 3 times. So, the travel and hectic schedules, it's pretty crazy. But I think for us now, we're really excited that, we've had the last month to get in. We've already got code on mainnet. We're starting to really make progress. So I had a kickoff meeting today with our team as well to start the process of finalizing the V1 white paper. And once that white paper is done, that will be the spec that we build out for the Havven-backed Nomen contract. So there's a lot of really exciting stuff coming up, and we're super busy and trying to get to market as fast as we can.
Busy. That's what we like to hear. And Kain, while we have you on the show, is there anything you'd like to share exclusively with the SVK Crypto podcast listeners out there?
Oh, well, I already have.
Is there anything else? Any other sneak peeks you can give us?
No, to be honest, that's probably the biggest thing. It's that we're going to be launching that e-commerce store. We will also have Havven merchandise as well to purchase. So we've had a number of people ask us about t-shirts and hoodies and all that kind of stuff. I think we've actually got a hardware wallet as well, a branded hardware wallet that we'll be selling on there as well. That's probably the biggest.
Awesome.
That's probably the biggest announcement that that I've gone and spoiled. So hopefully no one on the team kills me when I get back in the office tomorrow.
Well, Kain, I want to say on behalf of all the listeners and SVK Crypto, a big thank you for coming on the show today. We know you're super busy, and we look forward to monitoring and keeping up to date with the progress that you guys will be having. Thank you so much for coming on the show, and we wish you the best. Thanks for having me. Really appreciate it. Thanks, Kain. A big thank you to Kain once again for making it on the show today. We really appreciate it, and we know you're super, super busy. So thank you so much for making the time. And as always, if you enjoyed the show, if you enjoy our content, please remember to follow us on Twitter at SVK_crypto. Join our ever-growing crypto community on Telegram, SVK Crowd. If you type that in, you'll find us. And also email myself if you have any questions or queries. Storry at SVK Crypto or CSTORRY at SVKcrypto.com. Have a phenomenal day and a great weekend. Thank you so much for listening.
You've been listening to an SVK Crypto podcast original. Follow us on Twitter at SVK_crypto. Email us on cstorry at svkcrypto.com. Leave us a message on our website, www.svkcrypto.com.